I hope I
Yes, done.
stay unmuted now. Thank you.
Yes, we want.
Yes, Dina.
Thank you.
Very happy to be here under the aegis of SAPAN, South Asia Peace Action Network. There have been quite a few efforts to spark South Asian regionalism for the sake of the people of South Asia. And this latest effort, I hope, will learn from previous experiences, use the shock to the system that the COVID-19 pandemic has given us all, that we internalize the need for social justice across South Asia, that one of the main ways in which we can get that is through South Asian regionalism in a region that is civilizationally interconnected, but divided in all of 70 years by nation statism, which is not a formula that is uh, indigenous to South Asia. Even if it is a external system, it can be used, but it has to be adapted to South Asia. That is what has not happened. So I'm happy that SAPAN is once again has brought together several hundreds people from all across South Asia. And I believe that we are few in this session, relatively speaking, because South Asia is a region of nearly a fourth of the world's population. And in that context, we are too few. But on the other hand, it is the idea that has to take us forward. And the idea of South Asia thus far has been defined under the matrix of the nation state and SAARC. SAARC as an organization is a fine organization. It should survive. But South Asia is more than SAARC. South Asians are more than the sum of the parts of the SAARC organization. And in that sense, I would hope that what we are able to do in SAPAN, egged on by the COVID pandemic, is what Lalita Ramdas said right at the beginning. Let us become the uplifting rush of quiet birds flying to taking to the skies, and that is my prelude. And I've already used up a couple of minutes of the time I've got. I would like to speak from the perspective of a South Asian journalist. I live in Nepal, but I consider myself a Nepali and a South Asian. What, what is the distilled understanding that I have achieved in my own work of South Asia, what it is meant to be? Well, to bring it back to COVID-19, COVID-19 has presented a shock to the system, even though there are much larger crises, but there are slightly slower moving in relative terms. The loss of cultural diversity, the loss of ecological diversity, and the death of species, climate crisis, plastic pollutions, what have you. These are all incredible, monumental, and existential crises we are faced with. And I'm hoping that COVID-19 is like a jab to the system that will shake us up. And because South Asia is a fourth of the world's population, we have a duty to our own, because a fourth of a population, more than 1.4 billion people living in crisis, in misery, in poverty, partly also because of the format of governance that we have ingested. We have a duty to ourselves to go with South Asian regionalism to the extent that it gives us economic growth and social justice. But we also have a duty to the globe, because we make up almost a fourth of the global population, to do things better than we have till now. One of the reasons South Asian regionalism has not picked up is because we've got romantic notions of what South Asian regionalism should be. I'll come to that in a minute. But at the very least, what we must think about is South Asia beyond 8 nation states. That is number one. Number two, we must analyze the weaknesses of the format of South Asian regionalism that we have come up with thus far. And I will not get more into that, other than to say that we have nation states. All these nation states, most of them are brand new nation states, 60 to 70 years old. They got new elites, and they are wedded to the nation statism. We need to let the nation state survive, but we need to work around the problems of people-to-people contact, economic rationalization, a sense of shared history leading to a shared past. For that, what I would suggest is that South Asian regionalism, and this is my argument, South Asian regionalism is an argument for social justice, for economic growth, and social and economic rationalization. I'll not go deeper into that. What we have been stuck with instead is we take on South Asia as you are a Nepali, I am an Indian, he is a Pakistani, she is a Bangladeshi. That way we will have a SAARC amongst us, including in civil society. We need to go beyond the formula of SAARC. And hence, I would suggest public health and the kind of deep distress that the COVID-19 virus has hit us all with. Part of the reason for that is very poor governance. Part of the reason for the poor governance is poor formatting, including of the nation state. So we must try to analyze where we have gone wrong in trying to build up South Asian regionalism, because we have had romantic notions. Hum sab bhai bhai hai, if you want to say from the northern South Asian perspective, and to use a northern South Asian tongue, and bhai bahan hai. But that is not good enough. We must say that there is a link to peace dividends, to economic growth, to social justice. And so I'll now come to the end of what I have to say, friends. We have if South Asia and South Asian regionalism cannot deliver social justice, economic growth, and socio-economic rationalization, then we don't need it. We also need to make South Asian idea so powerful that the politicians will be fearful of those of us who say South Asia. Because thus far, South Asian regionalism has not put the fear on any nation statist politician. That means that we've done something wrong. So, to conclude, we need regionalism for ourselves, for our good. We also need regionalism for the world. So South Asia has a duty to ourselves, and South Asianists have a duty to the world. Let us not forget now in passing, because we tend to, that we are a nuclearized South Asia, nuclear weaponized South Asia. Never to forget that. And let us also not forget that for whatever reason, partly because of the kind of nation statism we've got, we are the biggest reservoir of poverty, density, volume, and depth of poverty in the globe. That should make us think and introspect of the need, to the extent that South Asian regionalism will help us. It will not solve all problems, but a lot of problems, which I cannot go into right now, will be solved, including when another pandemic comes and tries to hit us. If we are better governed, if we have a better sense of public hospital, better sense of managing our public hospitals, our public health posts, our public health systems, then when the next pandemic comes along, we are better served, also because we are better able to cooperate across the borders, between the countries and between the province and the countries, if that is the way it is. So in the end, I would say that let us use the shock to the system given to us, handed to us by COVID-19 to respond as we speak right now against COVID-19. Let us demand vaccine justice all over. Let us demand that the borders be open to the extent that we can help each other where the borders are not open. And let us beat COVID-19, but then move on to beating the nation's statism and its worst flaws that has brought us to this state. Thank you.